नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 14, verse number 8. So in the previous verse we studied that Chandra, the moon, he forcibly took away the wife of his teacher Brihaspati, and when Brihaspati asked him to return, then he refused. So then Brihaspati approached Indra. So Indra attacked Chandra, moon. When moon was attacked by Indra, then Shukracharya and his followers, they came. So then there was a heavy fight between Suradanava. So Sukro Brihaspatir Deshvad Agrahit Sasurodupam. At that time Shiva also came. Although Shiva has nothing to do with it, he is generally a neutral person and he does not interfere in these affairs. But here it is said that Haro Guru Sutam Snehat Sarva Bhuta Guna Vritaha, that he, out of respect for the son of his teacher, so looks like that Shiva has taken some knowledge from Brihaspati's father Angirasa. So these are the two examples of disciple. That one example is moon, God, Chandrama, who is running away with the wife of his guru. So this is one type of disciple. And then there is other disciple who is going to help his guru's son.
Yeah, I was just trying to find out that why did Sukracharya join the moon god? Because he wanted to get back with the
Well, this is common saying that
two of them are friends and
enemy is your friend.
okay.
So Sukracharya and Brihaspati, they are in the opposite camps. So now when Brihaspati is being attacked by, or he is attacking moon, so then Sukracharya goes there. It's a very common phenomena in the material world. When two countries are fighting, that's how they made NATO, right? The purpose of NATO is that if any one of the members of NATO is attacked by somebody, then they all attack him, because they are common. So Brihaspati and Sukracharya, they don't get along and their followers are always fighting with each other. So now when Sukracharya sees that there is a faction between the followers of Brihaspati, so therefore he sides with those which is against the Brihaspati camp. So that's how trouble comes. Politicians do it all the time. So therefore Hara Guru Sutam Snehat Sarva Bhuta Gana Vrita. So when Shiva saw this, then he came to help his guru's son along with his followers. Sarvadeva Ganopeto Mahindro Guru Manvayat Surasura Vinaso Bhut Samarastaraka Maya. So at that time Indra also came with all the other devas, in support of his guru. And Surasura Vinasva Bhut Samaras Tarkavaya. So then there was a big destruction from both sides. Because you can imagine that one side there are all the Asuras along with moon. On the other side there are all the Devas, including Shiva and his followers. So this is combination of all the forces. Generally you see only Suras and Asuras, and Shiva is neutral, but here Shiva is also there. So this is a fierce battle. So this is something like when there is a strong virus goes inside the body, then there is a big fight, right? The virus and the white cells. There's a big battle. So Samaras Tarkamaya. So this battle was called Tarkamaya. Why? Because it is only for Tara. So for one woman, so many people fight. She is sitting in the house and all these men are fighting. Right? So this is the interesting history of the world, that so many big wars happened for a woman. And most of these men have nothing to do with it. If you go and ask, why are you fighting? If somebody goes, some press reporter goes and interviews, Shiva, why are you fighting? What is that you have to do with Tara? So this is how it goes. So you have seen how the monkeys in Vrindavan? So two monkeys, they start clashing for something very trivial. Nothing really important. It's very difficult to figure out why they are fighting. And then very soon you will see that there are two parties. There will be 5-10 monkeys on the other side, and there will be another one, and then they are so fiercely attacking each other. And if you ask any one of them that what is going on, and these other ones, they don't know why they are doing. They just hear some noise, and it happens every day practically. All the time you see. So this is the human nature. So then how to end it? So what happened is that at that time, Nivedito atha angirasa somam nirbhatsya vishvakrit taro svabhartre prayachadanta vartanim avaita pati. So at that time Angirasa, he went to Brahma. So Angirasa is the father of Brihaspati. So he saw that this huge war is going on, and there doesn't seem to be any end to it. Nobody is backing out. Among the monkeys, sometimes you see that one party backs out and the other one is chasing them, and they can chase for a long time, then after they stop. Generally that's how it comes to an end. One party will start running away and the other will chase for a short period, and then that's it. But here it is not like that. So nobody gives up. So Angirasa went to Brahma, because Brahma is the grandfather of all of them. Suras and Asuras, they are all coming from the 10 sons of Brahma. So therefore he went to him that you please come down, this is all your family, and if you don't come down, your creation will come to an end. So he comes, and what he did, he chastised Soma. Soma nirbhartse. He says, what is this nonsense you are doing? How dare you can do such a thing? Don't you have some sense in your head? How can you do this to your guru? So therefore he chastised him, Vishwakrit. And then Taram Swabhartre Prayachad. So then when of course Brahma comes, then Soma has nothing to say, he cannot oppose Brahma. That is not possible. If he did that, he will be finished. So that much sense he had. So therefore he gave Tara back to her husband, that is Brihaspati. But when Tara came home and everything became quiet, then she told the husband that she is pregnant. Antarvartani Vartanim Avaitapati. After all, Chandra did not take her for nothing. So when Brihaspati came to know that Tara is pregnant, then he was furious. He could not tolerate that. So therefore he said, Tyaj taj asu duspragye mat kshetrad ahitam parehi naham tvam bhasmasat kuryam striyam santanika sati. So he said, throw her away, throw the baby away. So that's what he said. He says, you foolish woman, throw away the baby. Tyaj. So abort him. So that means Brihaspati was not afraid of aborting the child. Although he is knower of dharma, but now says no, abort. And how is it that my field has been impregnated by someone else? It's my land and somebody else comes and throws the seed there. So he says this is not allowed. So he says mat kshetram ahitam paraihi. So in the olden days this was very important part of dharma, to protect your wife, especially the chastity of the wife, because then only you will have a good progeny. Because the progeny depends on the mindset of the mother. Because one would say, what is there? She gives birth to one child from another man and then he can have another child from her. It's not that the field is polluted, it's not that he has put some chemical fertilizer or something. It's just another seed. So why is that this is such a big problem? So the problem is that this is actually, these people, they understood the psychology much better than what people know at present. So they knew that the psychology, the psyche of the mother has a very big influence on the makeup of the baby. So if the mother is having an affair with another man, so that means she is thinking of that man. It's not that she is a machine. Obviously she is involved. Although here it is said that moon took away Tara forcibly, but actually Tara also must have some interest in it. Otherwise she could have run away, unless, I don't know, if he had chained her in a house, complete lockdown. So she also must have some interest in it. So for that reason, he says that you give it up because this child will be a mixture. Because his mentality will be divided. That he will be my son and I am the father, but it's produced by another one and you are going to think of him. So it is going to have an adverse effect on the psyche of the baby. So therefore he says that you give him up. But now if she aborts the baby, what will he do to her? Is he also going to abort her or what? Because if he is angry and he is asking her to abort, then what will happen to Tara? So he says, don't fear, I will not harm you. Naham tvam bhasmasat kuryam, I will not burn you. Because she was fearing that out of anger he can also curse me. So he said, no, I will not do it. And why? So he has a good reason for that. What is that reason? Santanikaha sati. Says because striyaha santanikam sati, because I am also looking for a child and therefore you are my field. So if I destroy my own field, how will I get the crop? So he says, I will not harm you, so do not fear, but I don't want this baby. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti writes, Ajo Brahma Somam nirbharsya tasmat sakasart taram niskashyat. So Brahma came and he chastised Soma and then he got Tara out of his clutches. He released her from Soma and Swabhartre Brahaspatiya cha patim tam, and he offered her back to her husband Brihaspati. Tam antarvartanim garbhavatim avaita gyatvam. And then Brihaspati realized that she is carrying a baby. So he was not very pleased. So Brihaspati ruvacha, Brihaspati said, Tyaja, Tyaja iti, that abandon the child. Parairahitam garbham mat kshetrad asmat tyaja duri karo. He says that the child which is conceived by another, get him out of my field. I don't want this. Garbhe tyakte mam bhasmi karishyati iti bibhyatim asvasyanah nahamiti. And she was terrified that after I give up the child, then is he going to burn me? So he assured her that no, that is not true, I will not do that. Naham. Santanikaha santana arthi tvai santanam utpadetum mana asmi ityartha. Because I am santanikaha, I want to have a baby myself, son. So do not fear that. Tatyaja vridita tara kumara kanaka prabham spriha mangirasa chakre kumare soma evacha. So now another fight began. So Tara, she released the womb and a very beautiful baby was born who was very shiny, golden in color. And when Brihaspati saw the baby, he says, oh, I want this child. And then Soma, he came, he says, no, this is my baby. So now both started fighting for the child. So the Soma says, he is my baby, and Brihaspati says, no, he is my baby. So now how to decide?
I have a few questions. One is that just by seeing the complexion of the baby, he changes his mind. I mean,
Yes.
how is that possible? If his logic is that this baby is contaminated or he has bad influence, then this is a mental thing. It has nothing to do with the externals. So can he see from the shining that it's something
Well,
else, or-
sometimes you see the baby and you forget everything else. The baby is so cute. Right? Like sometimes you see, little puppy. So cute, then you forget that if I touch the baby, then I have to take bath. Right? So babies are cute, and he was the cutest of the cute. That Brihaspati, when he saw, he was so effulgent and dazzling. Means he understood that he is not having such impurity, and he is really some illustrious child. Right?
Is there any general injunction that one can do this? That is, to kill a child which is conceived by another man than the husband?
No, there is no injunction. That's why I already said that Brihaspati, he was even going to that extent. Obviously, he was angry.
Yeah.
When you are angry, then that's what happens.
Because it's dangerous. Somebody could use this as an example to justify an abortion.
Well, if you want to justify, where will you find the support in Shastra if you are a Shastri person? Right? Shastra is kalpataru. So you will find all types of examples, but you have to know that some are there for you to follow and others are there so that don't do this. So how would you know what should be done and what should not be done unless Shastra teaches you that? So that's why you have to study it. If you study it yourself, then you will interpret it what you want to do. So you can justify it, but what is the basis of your justification? You will say, well, Brihaspati did it, but is Brihaspati the authority here? So that has to be seen, yes.
I'm just wondering, it says tyaja, and we're taking that as abort, but in the next verse where it was described that she gave birth, it's the exact same verb.
Yes. So tyaja means give up.
But it also can mean just to release, or like to just...
Yeah. So release could all be abort. Obviously when he is saying release means I'm not interested in it. If he was interested in it, why would he say give up? He will say, okay, this will be my baby, I wait. Let him take its time to take birth.
Well, what if it's the opposite? What if she's thinking, should I abort it? And he's saying, no, give birth. And then the next verse, and then she gave birth.
So why is that he's saying give birth? What is his logic?
Maybe he's saying that because she's wondering what to do with the child, or whether he would be angry if she had this child. So he's saying, ashu, quickly, go ahead with it, finish it.
Yeah. As if giving birth is in her hand.
Yeah. For example, if some woman goes with another man and she's been impregnated, maybe she doesn't know what the husband is going to want her to do. So he's like saying, no, go ahead, have the baby. In other words, I'm not throwing you out, I'm not finished with you, I'm not telling you to abort it. Have the baby, go right ahead with it, and then we'll deal with it. and then she has the baby, and then he loves the baby.
Okay.
I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't mean to argue, but it just like, for me it's like, whoa, I don't know, I just can't quite see how this is abortion.
Okay, so then why she was fearing that he's going to maybe kill me after I give birth to the baby?
That would be a separate topic.
Well,
That could also be, right? Because the child hasn't done anything wrong, so we wouldn't need to kill the child, but she may, in this sense, have done something wrong, so she might fear that she could be killed.
okay, if you want to take it that way, no problem.
Anyway, sorry, I got a little excited here. Pardon my tone, I just was thinking of that.
No, it's okay. Well, the tyaj simply means to give up, to release, which could mean give birth, which could also mean abort. Abortion is also releasing the baby. Abandoning, tyaj also means to abandon. You have the word tyaga from that, Tyagi Maharaj. So if you want to say that it means to give birth, that's fine.
I'm clearly speaking about things I shouldn't be saying.
So obviously, giving birth is not something which is in the hand of a woman. Abortion is something which you can do. Right? Birth happens in time. It's not that any woman can say, okay, now I'm 6 months pregnant, I'm going to give birth, as if it's in her control. So, but abortion you can do. So that's why I said, it is saying about Duspragya, he is also calling her, you foolish lady. He's not using some kind terminology for her. Otherwise, he could have said, well, it's okay, I agree that this happened, but now give birth to the baby and get rid of him. So he says, yes.
Mr. Krishnadas, I had a comment on this discussion.
Bolo.
So this topic of abortion evokes emotions, as we saw.
Yes.
It's a very, very hot topic.
Yes.
And conservative groups don't like this abortion at all. If you look at just Hinduism overall, various Hindu groups have varying stances. There is no one fixed thing you can or you cannot. And it seems that in certain extreme cases, like if a child has a severe disease that can be diagnosed when the child is in the womb at an early stage, like Down syndrome or some other debilitating disease where when the child is born, it's going to suffer all its life. It's going to have a very short life and really suffer because of it. Then many times parents are faced with a tough decision to actually abort. So I don't know if there is like a blanket rule that one shouldn't in all circumstances.
Yes, one should not. That is the blanket rule. One should not abort. That is the blanket rule. But of course, you can do what you like to do. And you can justify. But that's the law, according to the Dharma Shastra.
Babaji Maharaj, I also had one question from the last class also, like the time was little up. So my question was this, that Soma is a Deva and he was also in charge for these Brahmanas and like for the learned people. But still he did such a act.
Yes.
And second point was that like an authority like Brahma is coming and just returning the wife back to Dayaspati, whereas the similar situation, Ramchandra ji killed Bali and also Ravan. So how do we understand this, the Shastra is the same, but then the result is something different. And I need to say, why varying punishment? There is no punishment but Som.
So Bali did not want to return the wife. The wife's name was also Tara, incidentally. So Bali was not ready to return, otherwise there was no need to kill him. He was too proud, he did not listen, just like Soma, at least he listened to Brahma. So Brahma comes and says, no, this is wrong, do it, and he follows, then why you want to kill him now? But Bali, he was too arrogant, same with Ravana. Ravana was too arrogant, he did not listen to even his own brother. His wife was pleading so much to him, Mandodari. He did not care. So this, you cannot compare this two situations.
But then there is no implication for Soma.
Implication for Soma, well, it is not mentioned, but don't say that there is no implication. For every action, for every karma, there is a suffering. So it may not be described here. Everything is not described because, it's, here the point is not just telling the whole story of Soma, but actually describing the lineage of Manu. And in between he tells, you read these stories in such a great detail in Mahabharata in chapters, Here he writes 3-4 slokas for this whole thing. So there must be something. And even if it is not mentioned, at least you know that there is karma involved in it. Okay, anything else? Yes.
Just to understand the mentality of Brihaspati, because he basically was not really able to protect the wife. The wife was forcibly taken away from him. Then the Soma was joined with her, and then so that this mentality was not since he was worried that this mentality was passing in the progeny, and then he didn't want that basically.
Yes.
So, but seems that he was just blaming her for all what has happened.
Yeah, seemingly, at least it looks from here.
So then basically he just say, okay, this is now, he gives the solution without even...
So what can he do? Either he has a choice either to keep the baby or to abort the baby.
Yeah, but...
So what do you want to say he should have kept?
he should also took his part of responsibility on that, because...
Yeah, so he's keeping the wife, otherwise he would have just thrown her away. He says, okay, go back, I don't want you. So he's taking responsibility, he's accepting her back.
Okay.
And he says, don't worry, I'm not going to harm you, but I don't want the child. That's what he's saying. Right? So he's still accepting, which is actually quite a big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you read in Mahabharata the story of Shalva and Amba. Amba wanted to marry Shalva. She was in love with him, but just because Bhishma kidnapped these 3 sisters, and then she told Bhishma that she has already decided to marry Shalva. So he says, okay, you go back to Shalva, and then Shalva refused to accept. So he says, no, I will not take you. All this, she said, I have chosen you as my husband and I will not marry anyone else. But you? And he says, no, I don't want you. So Brihaspati, of course, Shalva was not married, but he was not kind enough to accept her, because she was not polluted by Bhishma. Bhishma only took her away for his half-brothers. But Brihaspati is accepting her. Even that washerman was not ready to accept his wife. right? She only went away to attend some festival and she came back home. So it's not that she has spent the whole night. She was just late at night. Because remember that Lord Ramachandra went at night spying to hear what people talk. So that means it was not some daytime, it was not morning. It must have been late night, that's all. So then washerman was angry, where were you? It is so late at night, where did you go? So that means she has not spent the whole night somewhere. She had just gone to some neighbor's place, it happens in the villages. So then he was not ready to take her back. So Brihaspati is not being that extreme. He only says that I don't want the child. That's all. Because he is not sure that is my baby or not. Because if this is not your child, then naturally there can be some problem whether he will be obedient to him or not. Because it's somebody else's seed. And then you will not have the same type of affection when you know that it is not mine. This is how human mind works. So these are the considerations. So, but anyway, when the child was born, so she would have obviously made an attempt to abort, but the baby was alive. It's not that he was stillborn, he was alive. So when he was alive and he was Kanaka Prabham, he was golden avatar, he was shining like a gold. So then Brihaspati, everybody likes gold. He was immediately attracted. He said, well, this baby I can have. So then Soma came and he says, no, this is my baby. So then there was a fight. So Spriham Angirasas Chakre Kumare Soma Evacha. So Mamayam Na Tava iti Uchchais Tasmin Vivadmanayoho Prapachur Rishyor Deva Naivoche Briditatusa. So Brihaspati was saying, no, this is my child, and Soma was saying, no, this is my child. So it is only the mother who can tell. Because either you have to do a DNA test or you ask the mother. So if you want to know who is the father, then you have to ask the mother. So they say that Veda is the mother and Krishna is the father. So if you want to know who is your father, you have to study Vedas. Because only Vedas can tell you, Pitahamasya Jagata, Mata Dhata Pitamaha. I am the father of this Jagat, of this world. So only Shastra can tell you who is the father. And Shastra is the mother. So therefore, you have to resort to mother to know who is the father. So there was one couple sitting in the Mass, Sunday Mass, and the priest was giving a lecture. So somebody asked a question that, Father, what is the difference between knowledge and belief? So he says, look, you see this couple sitting here and their two children are sitting next to them. He says, Father thinks that they are his sons and mother also thinks they are his sons. He says, what father thinks, that is the belief Other mother thinks that is the knowledge. So it is only the mother actually who knows the reality. So that's why they are fighting and she is not speaking. So therefore says, Kim na vochasi prapachu rishyor deva nai voche vriditatosa. So both the sages who were there and the devas, they ask her that please tell whose child is it. Because they can claim, both can claim. But whose child is it exactly? So out of shyness, she did not speak. Nai voche vridita. She kept silent. So Kumaro mataram praha kupito alika lajjaya kim na vochasi asad vritte atma vadyam vadasume. So now forget about Brihaspati and this. Look what the child is speaking. You are blaming Brihaspati. You should blame the child. He is being more harsh than Brihaspati. So that when this fight was going on and the mother is not speaking and the baby is lying in the center because he is the object of fight now. Previously the fight was over Tara, now it's fight over the baby. So the baby speaks up. So he says, Kumara matram praha kupitaha. The baby became angry. And he spoke to the mom. And he says, Alik lajjaya kim na vochasi. He says, why are you not speaking? Because of this shyness that people will blame you. Asad vritte is calling her as ill-behaved. So this is quite heavy for a newborn baby. He says, Asad vritte kim na vochasi. Avadyam vad ashume. He says, just quickly tell about me, which is the defect, dosham, me dosham avadya. So means something which is not to be spoken. Vadya means which you can speak, and avadya means should not be spoken. So if somebody has an illegal baby, then they should not go and advertise about it. So he says it is avadyam, it is something not to be revealed, but better tell it now. And don't just keep mum. So don't be a mum. Speak. So then she speaks. So Atma avadyam alik lajjaya vritha lajjaya kim na vochasi. That you, out of your shyness, why are you not speaking your own fault? That I am conceived by Soma. So you see, this is what I thought, that there must be some intention of Tara involved in it. Because the baby is saying that why don't you speak your avadya, your unspeakable truth, that you actually conceived me through Soma. So baby, he knows this. Although he was not yet conceived. So he is a smart baby. That's why Brahma will name him as Buddha, the smart one.
Babaji,
Yes.
I think the adjective is also used for lajja, alika.
Yes.
Maybe you can say something about that?
Alika here means apriya, means not likable.
Don't like that.
Yes. Alika means either false, so it can mean that false shame, which means you're making show of shame, or it means that out of some unpleasant situation you are being shameful and therefore you don't speak. So that is alika.
Thank you.
So Brahma tvam raha ahuya samprakshischa santvayan somasyati ha shankaihi somastam tavad agrahit. So when this thing was going on and she was not speaking, then Brahma took her to the side, because Brahma, he understood that she will not speak in front of everybody, because women feel shy, she is more shy and modest, so she did not want to speak in front of everybody. So then Brahma said, please come to the side, and then he asked, just tell, is it Soma's? And she just shook her head. So then Brahma came and told, Somasya iti aha shankai. So very feebly, in very feeble voice, she said that the baby belongs to Soma. Somasya iti aha. So Somastam tavad agrahit. So when Brahma came and told, then Soma happily took the baby. He was very happy to accept, because such a nice baby, and who wants to give up that? So then tasyatma yoni rakrit budhaiti abhidham nripa buddhya gambhiraya yena putrena poduran mudam. So then Brahma is the one who named him as Buddha. And why he named him? Because he understood that this boy is very intelligent. So he says that Buddhya gambhirya yena putrena apo udu ran mudam. So then Chandrama happily accepted him. So that's how the Buddha came into existence from moon. And this Buddha will start the moon dynasty. Because remember, this whole chapter he started that now I'm going to tell you about the moon dynasty. So this moon dynasty comes from moon through Buddha. So it is a Khichdi dynasty. Because you will see that how moon produced Buddha from Tara, and then Buddha is going to produce a son, Pururava, in Ila, who was a king before and became a queen. And he comes from the Sun dynasty. So Sun dynasty actually gives rise to the Moon dynasty. Because the moon is Moon dynasty, moon depends on sun. So this is the story he's going to tell, how this dynasty came. So therefore he says that Somasya ityaha samkai somastam tavad agrihit. And then he was called Buddha. Tataha pururava jagye ilayam ya udahritaha tasya rupa guna odarya shila dravina vikraman. So from Buddha, a son was born whose name was Pururava. And Pururava is a very famous king. There's a big story of Pururava in Mahabharata also. And this Pururava was born from Ila. And this was already told earlier. So you know the story that there was a king named Sudyumna coming in the lineage of Manu, and one day he went for hunting in the forest with his men, and he landed up in an area which was protected by Shiva. And Shiva has made a proclamation that anyone who would enter in that area will turn into female. So these days, people pay so much money to change their gender. Here Shiva had made a wholesale arrangement. You just walk into it, if you are a man, you turn into a woman. And now you do all this transgender operation and so much money, and still it may not be satisfactory. It will change not only just the lower part, but everything in a very beautiful way, free of cost. So therefore these stories are interesting. That's why they are called Purana, because whatever is happening now is already happened. It's just that their language is different. They don't say that they did operation and this happened, that happened. They just tell the tattva part. A change of gender happened. So this Sudumna, when he wandered there, suddenly he realized that he looks different. And his voice changed. And he could not. And then he looked at his horse, the horse became mare. And he looked at his soldiers, they all became females. So he says, what is this? So now he had a big problem. He said, how can I go back to my kingdom? Nobody is going to recognize me, nobody is going to allow me to enter, even my own wives are not going to let me go in. So he just wandered there. And when he was wandering, in the meantime, Buddha, when he grew up and he was with his father Soma, he told him that I want to go and do some tapasya. So he was somewhere in the Meru mountain area, Ilavratavars, I think. And he was doing austerity there. He was living in a nice ashram. So Sudumna, who became now Ila, and she was very beautiful. So she wandered there and she saw Buddha, who was very beautiful, and he was now more beautiful because he is doing tapasya. So when she saw him, she was very much attracted to him. And when Buddha saw him, he also became very attracted to her. So they both liked each other, and Ila started living in his ashram. So Buddha went to do tapasya, and he does not have to do tapasya for a long time to get the result. It was quickly rewarded. Right? When you do sadhana, then your anarthas come out. Right? That's what Rupa Goswami says. Bhajan kriya, tato anartha nivritti. So that anartha sometimes looks like artha. Some undesirable things may happen, which means you are looking for one thing, another thing comes which is very attractive, and you become allured by that, and you think this is great. This is the blessing of bhakti. Remember, in Madhurya Kadambini, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that there are 4 types of anarthas. One of them is bhakti-ottha anartha. The anarthas generated by bhakti. So this is the type of anartha. If you get some high post, you get wealth, you find the association of very nice partner, and you get absorbed. So you may feel blessed by it, but actually this is an anartha. So anyway, they started living there, and then Ila became pregnant and gave birth to Pururava. So this is what is mentioned here. Tata Pururava Jagge Ilayam Yevadarita. And this is the Pururava is the one who will now continue the moon dynasty, because he is born from Buddha. Buddha is son of Soma. So this is how the Chandravansha came out. So then, of course, Sudimna's father came in search. Finally they found him and he requested Vasishtha that can you please change, do something. So he said, well, this is not easy job because this is something arrangement of Shiva. So we have to please Shiva. So he did a yajna to please Shiva and then Shiva appeared and then they asked him that please help. So he says, well, I cannot go against my own statement, but I will give a concession. And the concession is that he will be 1 month male, another 1 month female. Now this technology, the science has not developed yet. But just wait, it will also happen. It is bound to happen that in future there will be people who would like, well, I don't mind being female for some time and then male for some time. It will happen.
There are such people.
Hmm?
There are such people. They just externally change.
Yeah, they change externally, but it will actually happen at that level. So now, obviously, if they are thinking like this, then it will happen physically also. So then when she would become a female, her name was Ila. When she will become male, his name will be Sudimna. So for 1 month he will hide in the palace, not come out. And for 1 month he will take, so 1 month lockdown, 1 month he will take care of the kingdom and 1 month he will say, I'm going in lockdown. Social distancing. So this is how he ruled. But then when Pururava grew up, he says, well, this is something not very enjoyable, people are talking. So he made Pururava as the king and he retired to the forest where there was no one to trouble him like this. So then Pururava becomes in charge. So here it is said that Tata Pururava Jagye Ilayame Udahrita. So this Ila is also the mother and also the father. When his father is known as Sudimna and his mother is known as Ila, and Buddha is also the father. So this is a great technology that you can have the same person as your mother and your father. So tasya roop guna adarya shila dravina vikraman Shrutva Urvashi Indra Bhavane Giyamanam Surashina. So this Pururava was extremely beautiful and very well behaved and very generous, kind and wealthy and valorous, heroic. So he had all these wonderful qualities and his fame was so great that it went up to the Svargaloka, and Urvashi, she heard about it from Narada Rishi. So when she heard about him from Narada, she wanted to have his company. So that we will read tomorrow. Yes.
And I thought, so why did Ila not just simply go back to this area where the gender gets changed?
For what?
To get changed again?
No, it only changes one way.
Oh,
Only you can become from male to female, that's it. It is an irreversible reaction. Because the thing is that once Shiva was sitting with Parvati in that area lonely, and suddenly some sages came to have darshan of Shiva. So Parvati became very embarrassed. says, what is this? We never have any private time. So Shiva does not have a palace where he can lock himself in. He is in the mountain. So then this is how he made his area private. So he says now any man comes here will become a woman, and women don't mind if another woman is coming. But it is embarrassing for her to be with the husband in a more intimate position when another man comes in. So therefore it's not only human beings but animals also, they will turn into female. Yes. Can you give the mic that?
So in these three occasions in the life of Brihaspati, when first his wife was taken away, then she came back, she was pregnant, and then wonder when the baby was born, how can I describe how he had like if he had reacted in all those situations dharmically correct, how would he have behaved? And another perspective, if he had had a pure transcendental vision, how would he have reacted in those situations?
Well, obviously taking wife away, that is not he could not do anything. But he would have accepted and not asked her to give up not abort, or whatever meaning you want to take from that. He would have just accepted because it's not under her control if some man comes and forcibly takes her away. So that's the only option he could have had.
Babaji, Haribol, this is Bhadradasi. In astrology, Buddha, Mercury represents the intellectual capacity, rationalization, and then Soma represents emotions and sentiment, feelings, and Brihaspati represents religious principles. So from this pastime, is there any secondary meaning from that point of view?
Yes. So now secondary meaning you tell me, since you already say what is moon and what is, so you can figure out that how are they interrelated. So emotions can take away the Brihaspati and create trouble if you fall under the prey of emotions. So better have intelligence in that situation. If you work only on emotions, then you are carried away. So you also have to have Buddha. So all these stories, whenever they are related with this, they, as Bhadra said, they also have relationship with astrology. There are also astrological facts informed in this. I am not so expert in astrology, but they have astrological connotations in all these stories. Means from astrological point they will tell, well, this is what it happens, and it talks about this constellation. I've read some things, but since I never studied astrology, so I cannot speak much on that.
Is Buddha an aborted child?
Aborted child?
No, because he asked her to give up.
Well, aborted means somebody who dies. It's not aborted.
Exactly. So he came out prematurely, or how did this happen? Because it was
naturally, if he is asking her to give birth or abort, it means it's not the time. So he is prematurely born.
Yeah. Still he's so beautiful.
Hmm?
And still he's so beautiful, even though
Yes.
he hasn't maturity yet.
Maybe he was already mature, but taking time. He matured faster than others, that's why he's Buddha. Or maybe there is some other astrological meaning behind it, I don't know.
Babaji, why didn't Brahmaji intervene before the Devas and the Asuras started fighting?
So if there is a fight going on in your neighborhood, is it necessary that you will go and intervene unless somebody comes and asks you for help? That way he will be intervening all the time. He will also come and intervene here now when there are so many battles are going on between different countries. So it's not that he intervenes all the time like that, it's not his job. But if someone goes for help, then he comes on their request. Okay. All right.